Hey, you guys, Zipper D here, and I am here to talk to you today about getting set up with ArliAI. I'm a creator on Janitor AI. I also work in tech, and that by no means makes me an expert on this, but I can definitely get you started with ArliAI if you are interested. First thing you're going to need to do is go over to the ArliAI webpage. Let me just pop back to their main page here. This is what it's going to look like up over here. You're going to want to log in, create an account. It's a free account to start. Let's check out their pricing here. It does start free. You can also pay $5 or $12 a month. We'll talk about the differences there in a second. But with the free tier, you get access to one model. That's the Mistral Nemo 12B Instruct 2407. So go ahead and copy that information right now and put it somewhere that you can keep it on hand because we are about to use it. First place we want to go is up here to this little blue guy and click on that to get your account information. We're looking for our API key. So here's your account. I have some things obscured. Down here is not my API key, but it's what your API key will look like. And you go ahead and just copy that. So I've got a private chat opened up here with Rafe, one of my characters I just published. And I'm going to pop up that little thing because I'm going to click using proxy. It's whatever you were using last is what it's going to say instead. And you're just going to go over here to the proxy button. Model is what we're looking for first. We're going to click on custom, and then we're going to put this Mistral Nemo 12B Instruct 24/7 in. That is the name of the model that you're going to be using, and we need to tell the API or the way that Arli and Janitor communicate what model Arli should be using. You're also going to put in this URL. I'll include it in the description so that you don't have to try to type it out yourself. And then take that API key that we found before and put it down in the API key box. We're going to go ahead and click API key model. And for you, it might pop up a red box here. If it does that, no worries. All we have to do is save all of that and then go ahead and refresh the page. And this up here should be totally fine now and be in purple and say using proxy. So what is a proxy? Let's talk about that here while I think about what I want to say to my character. The Mistral model that you can use on the free version, I think is totally fine and will do most anything that you want it to do. Oh, I will say, don't put a jailbreak on your proxy. Found that one out the hard way. If you put a jailbreak on your proxy, all of the characters that you play with will suddenly become incredibly aggressive and just awful people who are doing all of the things that the jailbreak tells them to do. So don't put that on. If you want a more accurate version of the character, leave the jailbreak off and go ahead and just use ArliAI raw. So anyway, go ahead and use Janitor AI as you used it before, and it should generate a response for you. Let's get into talking about what a proxy is. And I've got this cute little drawing that I made. Get rid of some of these arrows. I recorded this a couple of times. Oop. We can live with those arrows. So we start out with a bot creator who creates a bot. They provide persona information, scenario, and an initial message, maybe some more information beyond that. That gets sent to Janitor AI, who displays that information for you, the JAI user. And you turn around after reading that and give your user response and your AI settings, also called generation settings, in Janitor AI. So when you type enter, that goes back to Janitor AI, and they add some other shit to it and organize the information and put it into a template that the LLM, the large language model AI, can understand. And they send it to their own proprietary JAI LLM. It thinks for a little bit, it sends it back, and they send it back to you. Great. Ad infinitum. There you go. That's basically how it works. When you use a proxy like Arli, however, same thing happens. Bot creator sends the information to Janitor. Janitor sends it to you. You send it back to Janitor with your user response and AI settings. Janitor adds some other shit, which is basically a template that AIs can understand. And then it sends that to Arlie using your API information. Arlie checks the API information and says, yep, great. This is a person who signed up. And they have told us that they want to use one of 3 models basically that they have available. They have hundreds available, but at its heart, of those hundreds, they're all built off of 3 different models. Arlie sends that information back to Janitor, which then sends it again to you. And repeat. So there you go. That's basically how a proxy works in the most like top level conversation. But let's go into this massive list of models that ArliAI has. You're going to take a look at it and it's going to be overwhelming because what does all this stuff mean? And holy crud, there's just so many different choices and they don't say much of anything about what these different choices are. Here's what you need to do. Let's break this down. First off, we're going to look at Llama 3.3 70B Instruct. Llama is the base model. It's the basic AI that was created by Meta, aka Facebook, and it is the 3rd version on its 3rd iteration. So version 3.3 of AI LLM Llama with 70B. So 70B stands for the number of bits in billions that have been used to train AI models. So basically, what they do is they say, hey, look at this information, look at this information, look at this information, and it will learn basically, okay, given all the information that I've been trained on, 70 billion bits of information, I can now make reasonable assumptions about what kind of response is required given the context and the constraints that I've been given. So the persona, your response, that kind of thing, everything that Janitor has put into this template and sent to Arlie. The AI has 70 billion bits of information to draw from in order to craft a response. And that sounds amazing, doesn't it? Like, you're going to get a really in-depth, verbose, and potentially more creative response. That being said, it takes more time for an AI with a big brain to big brain whatever you send it. So there's a little bit more response time on 70B versus we'll see some smaller models in a little bit. But let's look at that word instruct. So instruct is basically just telling you, hey, this is the base model. This is the Swiss Army knife version of this AI. And it's going to do a whole bunch of things for you pretty okay. It's going to role play okay. It's going to solve chemistry problems in German okay. It's going to do kind of everything that you want it to do for a large language model. Now let's get down into fine-tuning. What is fine-tuning? Well, they take this base model, and as you can see, it's Llama 3.370B. So they've taken this base model, this instruct model, and they've shown it more stuff. It's a lot less stuff than what it saw originally, but by showing it that stuff, it kind of focuses in how the model works and behaves and says, hey, here's more stuff and do it this way. So a lot of people will send it data that will help it be better at role playing, be better at talking, be better at writing novels, be better at a whole bunch of different things that are specific use cases for these models. I've used Uriel and like it. If you want to start with a 70B, that's a good place to start, quite honestly. Let's talk about this word obliterated. Llama 3.3 and pretty much any base AI model that's out there, these companies, in order to be quote unquote ethical companies, have decided to censor their models and tell their models, hey, we gave you all of this information, but don't use this information to produce any content that could be bad. And they get to decide what bad means. So people will take those base models and run them through some algorithms and other things that they developed at a very high level. That's what they're doing to basically remove these censorships that Meta has put on Llama. So when you see obliterated, that's all it means. It's been fine-tuned to be an uncensored version of the model. Doesn't mean that any of these other fine-tunes aren't obliterated versions. They could very well be. You just need to go in and look at the creator's notes about their specific model. So when you click on these, it'll bring you to a website called Hugging Face. On this website, it is a repository for people who develop these models and basically just a place for them to put them so that other people can find them and use them. So on Hugging Face, you don't need to worry about any information on this page except for the stuff that's on the right here. This is basically where creators will tell you, here's what I did to the model, here's sort of how I did it, and here was what I hoped would come out of it. Give it a try and see. So you can tell if they have intentionally focused something on role playing or focused on a particular type of role playing or novel writing, or they just specifically want to solve chemistry problems in German. Um, if they've based it off of another model or very much avoided another model, they might go into that. So that's kind of where keeping track of what models you like and you don't like can come in, because a lot of these creators are making these things as part of a community and as part of interactions with each other. And they might take someone's stuff and iterate on it themselves. So that's basically just what you want to do if you want to dig in more to what each of these mean. But it kind of gives you an idea. Feel free to just grab one, pop it in, see how you like the output. If you don't like the output, grab another one, pop it in and try it. It really is just the best way to go. I would do it early on in a conversation so that it's not being influenced by other AI generations and sort of picking up that style. I would do it at the beginning of a conversation. I would delete the original thing that I said, repaste it in, and generate the new response with the new model, just to make sure I had like the cleanest version instead of just re-rolling. So anyway, let's head down here to, there's a whole bunch of these llama ones. Let's head down to Qwen. Qwen is a base model created by Alibaba Cloud, and it's another open source based model that people base things off of. 32B, again, let's go back. So 70B was 70 billion, 32B is going to be 32 billion bits of information that it was trained on. And again, that instruct means it's basically the core model. So AGI, fine tuning, again, you click on it, you're going to see AGI means aspirational grand illusion. So they haven't given a ton of information here. But first Qwen 2.532B fine-tuned to fix its hypersensoritis. So it looks like they attempted to do some obliteration here. But then it looks like there's a version that's called RP Max, and I'm going to guess that's for RPing. Again, pick it up, throw it in, see if you like it. That 32B means that it's going to take less time to think about what you've sent to it, but it is more possible that you might get some nonsensical answers, or you might get some answers that don't quite vibe with everything else that's going on. That's just what I've noticed as I've been using Qwen and playing around with it. I don't hate it, and maybe someone else has a better way to get better responses out of Qwen, but it's not the most interesting thing to me. Mistral Nemo 12B Instruct 24/7. Mistral is another company. They are an independent company that specifically just makes Mistral AI. Nemo is a version of their AI. I believe it's specifically the 12B version. So that 12B is going to be 12 billion bits of information. Still a lot of information. But we're getting to sort of the lower side of what you might want to use for chatting. And you're going to get some more silliness in response, some things that seem like non sequiturs, and that kind of thing. But it's kind of up to you what you like and what your roleplay is like in Janitor AI. 12B can be perfectly fine, especially if it's fine-tuned well. So there are some pretty good fine tunes here. Some of them I recognize. I would probably try Backyard AI Party V1. And again, you can go to here and see, okay, what are they thinking about when they're making this? But you'll also see what's interesting with the Mistral Nemo 12Bs, that the context tokens are bigger. So 32,000 instead of 24,000. It's significant enough of a difference that it can definitely take a longer conversation than some of the other ones can. So if you're the type of person to just chat and chat and chat and chat and never use chat memory, you might want to look at Mistral Nemo if you get to that 24,000 limit that Qwen has, or the 20,000 limit that Llama has. So that's basically the breakdown of these different versions and how to dig through them. We'll be having conversations probably on my Discord about the different versions that we're using and what we like and don't like. And if I find any other proxies that are as easy and cheap to use as ArliAI, I will for sure make another video. But for now, I hope that was useful. Again, I'm ZipperD, and join my Discord, find me on Janitor AI, or, no, whatever, we're cool. But until then, I will see you guys later and have a great night.